Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video we're going to be discussing how to do effective note taking for penetration testing engagements. So if you're not familiar with penetration testing, it's ethical hacking. It's a way to compromise systems and then write a report on how to fix these issues. It's a very common offensive security tactic way to actually secure devices on the network, and it actually needs thorough note taking so then you can do the final report. So we're going to be demonstrating this on Hack the Box, because Hack the Box allows you to demonstrate your penetration testing and ethical hacking skills legally with explicit permission. The whole website is here to actually allow hackers and penetration testers to actually test their skills and improve their attacks. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you can see my screen right now, let me just check. So as you can see, we've got blue open. This is the type of box we're going to be trying to penetration test today, and I'm going to show you effective note-taking techniques and methods. So as you can see, it's Windows. I've already done this before, but we're going to run through it because the main part of this video is going to be actual note-taking. So what we can do is we can just grab the IP, copy it, open up a terminal. Now what we can do is we can close this for now, move this over here. Now what we can do is we can now scan. So what I like to do on when I'm doing penetration tests and using Hack the Box and things like that, I like to do a quick scan just to determine what ports are open first, and then an in-depth scan on those open ports. So we can do that right here. So we can go -P and then list the first 1,000 ports. So go like that, and then we can just simply put the IP address in. So paste that in. Now it will take a little bit of time because we're doing active reconnaissance, like I've mentioned in other videos before. It's finished right now because there's only 3 ports open. So as you can see, I've got 135, 139 and 445. These 2 are typically SMB, so there could be some sort of potential SMB vulnerability here. So now what we're going to do is we actually want to scan to see if we can get version numbers. So we can go nmap and then list the ports that are open. So 135, 139 and then 445, and then do everything on this IP address. Yep, so it's just scanning right now. It's doing the TCP handshake, things like that. It should be done not too bad. So what happens is we're scanning 3 ports now, and we're scanning everything on these ports. So we're going to get hopefully back version numbers. Obviously we're going to get the ports back. We're going to get anything that's running and any sort of things like that. So as you can see, it's coming back now, so we can actually just scroll up and see what we have. So as you can see, we now have versions. So we've got Microsoft Windows RPC, and then we've got this, and then we've also got Windows 7 Professional SP1, which is commonly known for exploitations and vulnerabilities. So we can definitely do that. So what we want to do, right, is we need to take notes ready for the report, because once we've compromised all these hosts on an ethical hacking or penetration test, you want to make sure that you have enough notes to do the report, because if you don't and you've compromised all the computers and now you have no notes, then you need to do it all over again just to get the notes and screenshots. So what we're going to do now is we're literally just going to copy all of this output, including both scans, and we're going to then, so you can use OneNote. You can use any sort of note-taking thing you would like. I use OneNote because it's just a lot easier for me. So we can say something like note-taking for blue, like that, and then we can add a new page, and then we can say recon dump, as we are dumping the recon scan. Pardon me. So now everything's in here, right? And it's online, so we can access it even if, you know, one of our computers crashes or something like that. But we actually need to highlight the user inputs, so we can just do that, highlight them red, and then we come down to the other one and then highlight it red as well, just to show that anybody trying to do remediations and fixing the issues that we've outlined in our penetration test, they can actually find out what we've specifically done, so then they can recreate it, and then they can actually see if it's actually prevalent there, and then they can fix it as well. So now we have the recon done, we can actually look through it. So scroll down, as we've said, Microsoft Windows RPC, and it looks like we also have Windows 7 and it's Service Pack 1. And then it tries to guess the operating system, so it says either Windows Server 2008 R2, or Microsoft Windows 7 for a 97% guess. So that's reasonably accurate. So it's going to be one of those two. As you can see, if you go down, you've got a little bit else. As you can see, it's actually determining the operating system through here. Service Pack 1, Microsoft 7, Microsoft Windows 7, I mean. As you can see, it's got the computer name, things like that as well. This is blue, remember. This is ethical hacking on Hack the Box, which is specifically designed to test your penetration testing and ethical hacking skills. This is a disclaimer: do not ever try to penetration test or ethically, not ethically, do not try to attack a network or a web application or anything like that you don't have specific explicit permission to do so, because that is illegal and I do not condone that. Obviously this is just for ethical purposes and for you to actually learn how to conduct these attacks for penetration testing and ethical hacking. I would just like that to get that out of the way. So there we go. So what we can do is we can try to access SMB if we would like. So we can just clear the terminal if we like. Right, so we've got a few options to do here. We can try SMB. We can then look up exploits online. We can try various things like that as well, see if there's any Metasploit, things like that. So yep, and we want to document everything that we do. So let's try SMB first. So before you actually do note taking, you want to do note taking afterwards, because there's going to be various things you try and penetration test and that won't work, that you won't need to document about, because if it's not vulnerable then you wouldn't document it, if that makes sense. So we can try SMB client. So SMB client, you just type it out in the terminal like that, and then we want to list, so we can go -L. We then want to actually put in the IP address, so let's get the IP address back again, one moment. There we go, and then we can paste it in and then see what comes back. So this will try to enumerate and list the SMB shares that it has. Now, if you don't know, SMB is a very popular type of vulnerability. Well, it's not a vulnerability, it's a file sharing platform, but it typically has vulnerabilities with it from SP1 to SP3. So if that is the case, then it's pretty much like a gold mine, I guess, if you find them. So we can try to list them now and see what there is. Okay, so now it's asking for a password. Now we don't know the password as we are penetration testers, so we can try like an empty password, and that worked. So you can actually have no password for the root user and then enumerate all the shares that are on the device. So as you can see, we've got this very juicy admin share. We also have IPC, which is typical, and then we've also got users as well, which can be quite interesting. Typically IPC, you don't normally do a lot of things with that, but as you can see, we've also got the C drive as well, which is the default share, things like that. We can try to enumerate them. But this is just showing that SMB is actually working. So what we can do is we can actually just copy this and then go down and type in SMB enumeration. And then we can paste it in. Highlight, if you remember what we did. So we can do that and then click on red. So then it actually highlights it. And then this can be left blank because it didn't actually put anything as the password, because it was an empty password. And yeah, so we can also put screenshots in. It does help to have screenshots, so you can print screen and then you can just select the part that you like. So there we go, paste it in underneath as proof. We also do the same with the recon dump, but let's just skip over that for now because of time. So what we can try to do now, right, if we go back to the recon dump, we can actually see the type of versions and operating systems. So we can try to look this up. So we can go like that, copy it. Now we go out to Google. All right, exploit. See if there's a publicly available exploit for this and see if there's any sort of code. So as you can see right here, MS17010 Eternal Blue. So if you don't know what Eternal Blue is, if you remember back to the NHS when it got hacked with ransomware and demanded a Bitcoin payment, that used a vulnerability. That vulnerability was made by NSA and was leaked by a hacker group called Shadow Brokers. This was Eternal Blue. It was Eternal Blue double pulsar, and it was the same attack that was used against the NHS to hack the NHS. So we can actually use this to try to compromise this computer. As you can see, we've also got exploit database, which is a very good tool as well. As you can see, we've got R2, which is what we were running if you go back to the scans. But we're actually going to focus on Eternal Blue because I think that's a bit more cooler if you understand what I mean. So we can click on it, it'll load the page. We can also load up exploit database afterwards if you would like, just to see like the actual code. In fact, let's do that right now. Okay, so let's go back and let's open this as well. And then we go over to exploit database and we can actually look at the code, so we're not being like script kiddies, if you like. So you can download the code from here. It will tell you like the author, and it will tell you it's a remote type of an exploit, so you don't actually have to be local, not like Privesk where it normally is quite local. So as you can see, it uses Myhackertech. Now if you don't know Myhackertech is quite a common tool to use for Kali Linux. You can get it on GitHub. You just type in Myhackertech GitHub like that, if I can spell it right, and there it is right there. As you can see, I've already visited it before because I've got it installed. So as you can see, if you scroll down, you've got a few comments. So as you can see, it's tested on these types of operating systems, and it says the exploit should never crash a target, nearly 0%. So if you would like to do this on penetration tests, obviously explicit permission and things like that, you should talk to your manager before you do stuff like this, just in case it does crash, and just make, like, for example, the blue team and people like that aware if it's like a red team engagement, just to make sure that you say if this crashes, it's a big problem, because if it's like a server, you don't actually want to have to deal with all of like the downtime, things like that. So yeah, it says it should never crash a target, so this would be available on pen tests. And then yeah, so it just tells you a bit about it, tells you all the things that are imported. I think this is written in Python maybe. As you can see down here, it gives you a bit more information. It says for Windows Vista and gives you a bit of information on that. And then yeah, so you can just scroll down and actually see the code. No, this isn't Python. But yeah, as you can see, it does some offsets for like overflows, I would imagine. Things like that, so you can actually read through this if you like, and it gives you some sort of examples right down here. Normally, well, not normally, sometimes the exploit code can actually give syntax in the code for how to use it, but for this purpose, it's actually Eternal Blue is actually a Metasploit module, so we can actually use this because it will be easier for us. So what we can do is we can just scroll down. As you can see, there's a description as well that I often read: SMB user, SMB password, things like that. Scroll down and you can see here's the Eternal Blue module. So we can actually do this right now. So we can just copy this, load up Metasploit. So if you're not familiar with Metasploit is a type of tool, also known as like a framework that is built into Kali Linux to allow exploitation of targets. It's more of an automated tool, if that makes sense, because it's more like a menu-based system, but pretty much every penetration tester uses it because it's a very good tool to use and it's very powerful. If you're studying for things like the OSCP, which I myself am trying to do right now, you will only be able to use Metasploit once because it's an automated tool and they want to test your manual scripting skills, well, manual exploitation skills I should say, and adjustment of scripts that you may need. Anyway, we're in now, so now we can just paste it to actually use this module. If you didn't want to paste it, you can just simply do search and then do Eternal Blue. And as you can see, it comes up right here. It might be this one here, but anyway, we'll just paste it. Show options like we normally do. See what's available. So as you can see, we need an R host, we need an R port, and we need these two, but these are already set by default to be true. We don't actually need an SMB password and user, but if we did need to, or if it fails for some reason, we do know that the user, because we checked it on SMB client, is root and the password is empty. So we could put those in, but they're not required, so we won't really need to. As you can see, we've got targets down here. This is, I think, the only target. We can say show targets if we like and see all of them, but it says all service packs, and we're running service pack 1, I believe, from the Nmap scan, so that's good. Going back to the note taking, we actually want to document this, so we can just bring this new page down and we can say exploit. And now what we want to do is we want to actually copy the URL that we used. So we're actually using this one, aren't we? So we can copy this, paste this in. We also would like to go back and then just to make sure that we actually put that in, so we can do a screenshot and go boom, like that. Try to get all the information in. Go back and then print it out as well. You can also do the exploit code, but you can also snip it a bit if it's too long, like if it's like over loads of pages and you haven't actually adjusted it. You wouldn't need to necessarily do that, I don't think. But yeah, you know. So what we can do is, so we're up to date on this. We know exactly what we're using. Now what we want to do is we want to also document this process as well. So we can go set our host to the actual IP address. So if we go back to the box, we can grab that. Like that. And then we want to set the L host, which is my internal IP address. That wouldn't be used to anybody outside of my network. You can simply just set it as the actual interface and it'll be fine. You want to put it in twice because sometimes it doesn't actually register. And then what we can do is that everything that we need. So we can scroll up. As you can see, we need our host, we need our port, and L host and L port. As we've set that all up now, we can just do run and see if we get a shell back. We will step through this output as well, don't worry. So we can actually go through the output now. So as you can see, we've got a win from this banner right here. Sometimes it fails and then sometimes it will retry. So just be aware of that, that might happen. But now we're into a Metapsa shell. But if we go back up, we can actually look through this. So basically what it's doing is it's starting a reverse handler for us to listen, because it's a reverse TCP, which means the client connects back to us or the victim connects back to us. So we don't actually have to go through the firewall. It's outgoing network traffic on their end, so it's less easy to pick up. It says host is likely vulnerable to eternal blue, which is this code. It scans one host and then it actually determines if it's vulnerable or not. And then it tries again, things like that. And then we actually get the Metapsa shell. So, you know, we can type in like sysinfo. I'm pretty sure that's only for shells though. So let's just type in help just to make sure. So we can try to do like get system, just in case we're not root. Yeah, who am I is not a command, so we can do something like get UID maybe. There you go. Now we're NT authority system because this is a Windows machine, so we're actually the highest privileged user. So what we could do is we could do hash dump to dump the hashes. Boom, there you go. Those are the hashes of the passwords, things like that. As you can see, there's a Harris user, which if we go back, we can actually see this on the recon dump. So if we go down, there it is, look, Harris. The computer name is Harris PC, and that's because we have a user called Harris. So now we've actually exploited it. We want to actually make our notes on how we did this process. So once this page loads, oh, it has loaded, a moment, there we go. We actually want to copy everything that we've done from the exploitation. So let's just scroll up a bit. Just copy all of this. We also want to copy all of the set our hosts and like the L host and everything that we've done there. And we also want to make sure we include the module that we used. We can then print it out. I don't know why I did that, one moment. Scroll up. Paste it out like that. You can also do snips if you like, if like the output is too much for you, or it's too much for the report, I should say. You can literally just, you know, include a little bit of it. So you could say stuff like that, snip, like that. Put it in bold, we can put it in, let's not put it in red. I think that should be fine actually. We can just leave it as snip because it's obvious that we've snipped the code, or the output I should say. But now we need to go up and we need to make sure that we're highlighting everything that we put in. So we can do use this module. As you can see, it goes to show options. Then it actually shows the options. And then you want to come down and then you want to make sure you're highlighting all of these as well when you're setting things, because this is what the actual people who are doing the remediations would actually be looking at, and what they would actually be typing as well. So as you can see, all of those are run, and then we actually get it, and then as you can see, we put in help as well, so we can just highlight that if you like. We can also do screenshots as well, just to make it a little bit easier, so we can actually screenshot the most important parts, which would be the parameters that we're setting, so we can just do that. And then we can also have proof of concept that we actually got a shell, so we can come down to here and do another one up here. So you can just, I don't know, select like this amount and then go win, and then include the method shell as well. Do remember that these notes don't get sent off to the client. You have to make a report from these notes, so it's really crucial that you do more notes than you need to, rather than less notes and having to redo all of it again just because you've missed out some screenshots. So as you can see, we've got it exploited. We can actually do things like, well, you know, post exploitation. We've done a little bit of that already. We're skipping over privilege because we don't actually need to do privilege escalation for this video on this lab, because we're already NC authority system, which is the highest user. That's like being root on Linux. So there's some post exploitation we can do. So if we just go back, hash dump is actually a part of post exploitation, so we can do that. We also want proof of concept as well, so we can totally do that as well. One moment, let me just sort this box out. So, like we normally do, highlight, hash dump, and then we can also do a print screen of that as well. It's always good to do both, just in case the client asks. And then we can put that there. And then we also want to make proof of concept as well, so we can go get UID, like that, and then we go print working directory, and and then also we can drop into a shell, and then do sysinfo as well. Oh, right, okay. I know why it's not working. Hold on one moment. So what we actually want to do, so we can go get UID like that, and then we can go print working directory, and then we can drop into a shell, and then it's actually system info. It's just gathering it at the moment, I think. Oh wow, okay. That's a lot of information. Hopefully we won't need that much. No, we won't. Okay, that's brilliant. So what we can do, so we can copy, like, yeah, probably about this amount. We can go like that, copy, and then we can title it like proof of concept. Paste it in. Make sure you highlight everything that you've put. That's very key for you to do, because people who are actually doing the remediations need to type this stuff. And if they can't follow it through well, then it'll be really hard for them to, you know, fix the issues and actually identify them. Well, to be fair, we are identifying the issues as a, you know, penetration test. So now what we want to do, remember, we can put, you know, any sort of banners or notes or titles here, because they're not actually seeing this as the client. We also want to do a screenshot, so we can go like that and just capture the same amount of information we did originally. Paste that in as well, like that. And boom, that is a successful penetration test for you. So as you can see, we've got a little title header, and then we've got the actual reconnaissance dump when we did the nmap scan. So we did the first one, and then we did the second one. Just to list everything, we also put everything that we typed in red. We also did SMB enumeration of the shares, so we used this command and we actually enumerated some of the shares, which is good. And then we actually looked up an exploit. We found the exploit, we found the code, we ran through the code as well. If we needed to adapt that code at all, we definitely could do. As you can see, we did use exploit and then we used it, and then we showed the options, we set all the parameters, and then we ran the exploit. We got a shell, and then we did a few screenshots as well. Post exploitation, we actually got the hashes from the hashing algorithm. Well, not the hashing algorithm, I'm sorry, from the hashes database. As you can see right here, and the screenshots just to supplement it. And then we also have proof of concept that we actually, exploit the machine, get UID, enter authority system, put in working directory, we're in this directory, and then we got a shell because we need to run system info just to get some of the information back on the computer as well. So if you did like this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe. I'm really trying to grow my channel and help people get educated for penetration testing and ethical hacking. So yeah, please feel free to do that, and I hope hopefully you enjoyed the video and you learned something from the video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.